Today on Studio One, farming is an industry that's changed a lot over the years. We'll tell you about a recent trend that has many concerned. Also, some people will do almost anything simply because of a suggestion. We'll talk with a hypnotist about his trade. And people across the country are finding ways to help hurricane victims. We'll watch as a group of hairy men go through pain for relief money gain.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Shannon Brewer.
We have a lot of interesting topics on the show today. One of them dealing with the damage that happened in Biloxi.
Absolutely.
And we have someone coming up later in the show who's going to talk about his experience down in Biloxi. He helped a newspaper keep printing even though there was the disaster that went on.
Absolutely. It'll be good to see how other organizations have really come together to help fix the problem.
A lot of people are helping. Also coming up on the show, when a father or mother is away for a long time, it can be difficult for the family. When that parent is a soldier, it makes it even harder. We'll introduce you to one family preparing to say goodbye.
Also, many people in the U.S. choose to donate organs. Later, we'll learn about a program that accepts whole body donations.
But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torning.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. John Roberts was sworn in as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court on Thursday. The ceremony took place just a few hours after Roberts' confirmation. Roberts was officially sworn in to his post during a ceremony at the White House. He replaces Chief Justice William Rehnquist, who died on September 3rd. A majority vote of 78 to 22 confirmed Roberts to his new position. Roberts was originally slated to take the place of Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, but was later nominated to replace Rehnquist after his death. Roberts says he has an important goal in mind as Chief Justice.
With the help of my colleagues, I can pass on to my children's generation a charter of self-government as strong and as vibrant as the one that Chief Justice Rehnquist passed on to us.
Several military officials told Congress Thursday that the U.S. is making progress in Iraq. The group included Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and top Pentagon officials. The hearings before the House and Senate Armed Services Committees are part of the White House effort to boost slipping support for the war. If some lawmakers have it their way, there will be a new rule for video gamers, but it won't be found in their games manual. Senator Hillary Clinton is proposing new legislation to control video sales of video games. The bill would make it a federal crime to rent or sell mature-rated video games to minors. The debate started after internet hackers discovered a hidden sex scene in the computer code for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. If the bill becomes law, businesses would have to regulate their sales. Some stores, aware of the problem, have already made changes.
Here, it'll actually ask for ID when someone comes up with a mature game. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to control who you're selling to.
Leaders in the gaming industry say the proposal is a violation of the First Amendment. A new survey shows that teens may be able to boost their grades just by sitting at their dinner table. According to a study conducted by Columbia University, teens who eat with their families on a regular basis do up to 40% better in school. The research also shows that those students are more likely to abstain from drugs and alcohol. Younger children involved in the study also showed improvement in their language skills. The survey found that while the benefits of family bonding at the dinner table are crucial, busy schedules are making it more difficult for families to spend time together. The war on terror is forcing many Americans to say goodbye to their loved ones. One Grand Forks, North Dakota family will be saying their goodbyes for a second time.
The Dorneman family is living what many may call the American dream. However, this dream will soon be postponed again.
They're not there and you don't know what's happening to them when somebody's, just taken away from you, not voluntarily. It's tough.
Rob Dorneman is an active member of the Army National Guard and will soon be leaving for Afghanistan. Though it won't be easy, Rob believes this activation will go better than his previous deployment to Alabama.
This time we had months to prepare for the date and I actually have to leave, and last time it was just a few days.
During his time overseas, he will be forced to miss many important events. Megan, one of their 3 daughters, will be confirmed. She is also a co-captain for her hockey team this year. His wife, Kim, has already made plans to videotape each game for him. The girls realize when their father leaves, they will each hold more responsibilities.
When my dad's going away, we're probably going to help out a lot more because it's to make it a little easier on Mom.
Although watching him leave will be difficult, Kim recalls it isn't the hardest part of the journey.
You can pull up your bootstraps from being sad and become strong, but to bring it back down again to where you're equal partners and you're sharing and you learn to live together again, that's tough.
Although they realize anything could happen, the family remains positive Rob will come home safely. By taking the journey one step at a time, the family will soon be back to living their American dream. Reporting for Studio One News, I'm Virginia Sticka.
There are approximately 9,000 U.S. troops currently stationed in Afghanistan and 146,000 in Iraq. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks a lot, Mariah. A lot of people going overseas in same situations.
A lot of things changing in the world right now. And including in that is the weather. And I'm seeing a lot of jackets and scarves starting to be pulled out. It's getting really chilly out there, but I think we should go over to Matt Benz at the weather studio and find out just what we can expect to see in the weather.
Well, thanks, Monty and Shannon. We're beginning to see our changes in the weather. It is, of course, fall, and temperatures are beginning to take a nosedive as we head towards winter. Well, let's take a look at our averages across much of the country. Most of North Dakota, you're beginning to see your average temperature highs beginning to slip down just a little bit, as well as much of the rest of the country. Denver, Colorado, you're going to see your average high around 72. In Minneapolis, you're going to see your average high around 64. Well, we're going to do a little bit of a recap of the hurricane season. Hurricane season began on June 8th, and this is through the 24th of September, and these are storms that affected the North American mainland. And here were the first three. Here we had Tropical Storm Arlene that came up and affected parts of Mississippi and Alabama, but then as we look off towards the east, we had Dennis and Emily, and these were very powerful storms that came through with winds in excess of 150 miles per hour. And the next main three that came through was Katrina, Ophelia, and Rita. And of course, we've heard Katrina. Katrina was a very nasty storm when it reached the Gulf of Mexico, as was Rita. And when it reached the center of the Gulf, it had 175 mile per hour winds. And that was with both Katrina and Rita, and as well as Ophelia. That was just kind of skipped off the east coast of the U.S. and didn't cause a lot of damage, but it did cause a lot of rainfall across much of the east coast. Well, who's going to be warm for the next week? It looks like the east coast and most of the eastern half of the country is going to stay warm, hold on to summer for a little bit longer before fall makes a return, while the Pacific Northwest looks like you're going to see slightly colder than average temperatures over the next week. And the Northeast will as well see drier conditions, as well as the Southwest, but there will be some sporadic areas of wet conditions across most of the country. Here's a look at your weather IQ question. Which of the following makes leaves turn red during the fall? And you have a few choices there. And actually, coming up later in the show, we'll have a story about how leaves change color and what makes them change those brilliant colors.
Thanks, Matt. Well, I'm not sure what makes them change colors, but I definitely like those colors that they're changing into.
Yeah, and I'm curious not only in the answer to that question, but how to pronounce those words that were thrown up on the screen for us.
See how Matt pronounces them later on in the show.
There's a challenge for him. Well, let's go now to sports news with Nathan Shane.
Thanks, Monty and Shannon. The Boston Red Sox needed a win, along with a loss from the Cleveland Indians, to gain the lead for the wild card in the American League. And they would have the chance when they took on the Toronto Blue Jays. But the Blue Jays were looking to play the spoiler. Vernon Wells jumps all over the Bronson Arroyo pitch for the two-run homer. Jays go up early. Later, in the top of the third, Jays up 3-1, and Eric Hinske decides to add a couple more. Hinske takes Arroyo deep to center, putting the Blue Jays up by 4. But Boston doesn't give up, and in the bottom of the fifth, Jason Varitek with men on, lines to the gap, but Reed Johnson, who make a great catch here, as the Blue Jays win big 7-2. The door was left wide open for the Cleveland Indians as they took on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Scoreless in the top of the 7th, Ronnie Belliard making the ridiculous behind-the-back play at second, getting the out. Later in the top of the 8th, Joey Guthright. He'd score here on the sacrifice fly by Julio Lugo, putting the Devil Rays up by 1. And that's all they would need. Travis Hafner grounds to short for the final out as the Devil Rays win 1-0, keeping the Red Sox and the Indians tied in the wild card. NASCAR's new chase for the Cup is underway. The new format takes the top 10 drivers from the season and pits them against each other for the chance to be number 1. Jimmy Johnson finished the season as a 5th overall driver, propelling him into the battle for the Nextel Cup. With the chase now in full swing, Johnson kept some room in his schedule for fans by holding an autograph session in Grand Forks, North Dakota. The trip was out of the way from where he races, but right towards many of his fans.
You know, we don't race in the immediate area, so to come up and have this warm of a welcome and so many people showing up for an autograph says a lot about our sport and, you know, my fan base.
With fewer than 10 races left, Johnson is in a good position. He has already won an Nextel Cup race when he took the checkered flag at Dover International Speedway. It is now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question, and today we're going to stick with NASCAR and more specifically Jimmie Johnson. We want to know, when was Jimmie Johnson's rookie year? We have 4 different years from 1999 to 2002, and we'll have the answer to that question plus more sports later on the show. Back to you, Monty and Shannon.
Thanks, Nathan. Few stories capture the imagination quite like Buried Treasure. Paul Walker and Jessica Alba star in a thriller about adventure and treasure hunting. We'll preview the movie Into the Blue.
Also, medical science relies heavily on community donations. Next, we'll talk to one woman whose work in the field of medicine relies on a unique donation.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
The University of North Dakota Graduate School offers unique opportunities for students who love to keep their eyes on the skies. Atmospheric science students and faculty travel aboard our flying laboratory to study weather conditions from the sky. Students and professors in our Space Studies program are helping to shape the future of interplanetary travel. Major projects include designing and testing a spacesuit for the mission to Mars. Reach for the skies and beyond with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One, your source for news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
It takes years of studying and observation to become a doctor, but truly learning the anatomy of the human body takes more than a textbook. Director of the University of North Dakota's Deeded Body Program, Denelle Kees, is here. She will tell us how whole body donations are giving medical students vital hands-on experience. Thanks for coming on the show, Denelle.
Thanks, Shannon.
Well, before we start talking about this Deeded Body Program, can you tell us a little bit about what the Deeded Body Program is?
The Deeded Body Program is a program in which people can actually fill out the paperwork to our program and donate their bodies after their death to help teach in our anatomy classes.
And with this program, after these bodies are donated, who's benefiting from the donations?
We have many students benefiting in the classes. We have the first-year medical students, we have the occupational therapy students, the physical therapy students, and then we have undergraduate Anatomy 204 students.
And why is this program important versus just working out of a textbook or in the classroom setting?
Well, I think the human body is by far the greatest teacher. We are all put together the same, but yet everybody is a little bit different.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on in this program. Now, with this program, this is something done through the medical school. How do you get involved? Where do people go? What do you need to do if they want to deed their bodies?
There are a couple of different ways. I think probably the easiest way would be to call the Anatomy and Cell Biology Department at the School of Medicine and Health Sciences. And when a person calls, they'd be talking to Annette Ryder, and the number there is 701-777-2101, and all you have to do is give your name, your address, say that you're interested in learning about the Deeded Body Program. She will send a packet of information out with all the necessary forms. It's very straightforward, it's very easy. If there are any questions, she can answer questions, or she can relay those questions to me, transfer down to my phone, I can answer questions. Another way is to actually go to your local funeral home also. We are involved with the funeral homes very much in the area. They have all of our paperwork, and we actually require that donors go through a funeral home to be through our program after their death.
Okay.
The funeral homes fill out the necessary state paperwork, and then they also do the transportation of the donor to the medical school.
Great. And with that, you're talking about the processes that we need to go through with the funeral home. What steps does the family have to take once the individual has actually passed away?
They just contact the funeral home, and the funeral homes in the area are great. They go through everything step by step. There are many different options. Donors can, people can have a funeral and still be a part of the Deeded Body Program.
And once the bodies are a part of the Deeded Body Program, how are they cared for? Is that a concern that you've seen?
Oh, they are cared for with the greatest respect. The faculty, the staff, the students, we all treat the donors with the greatest respect. They are an absolute gift to us.
Well, it sounds like an outstanding program. Now, with the bodies, are these bodies used for research purposes, or are they just learning purposes? How are they used?
In our program, it is strictly a teaching program. We are not involved with research with the Deeded Body Program at all.
And then once the bodies are in the program and you're using them for these learning programs, how long do they generally stay with the program?
We do tell the families that their loved one can remain with us. It is a possibility that they would remain up to 3 years. And we know that that's a long time, but the families have been fabulous about it.
Excellent. And then once the program no longer has uses for the bodies, what happens to the bodies?
We bring the bodies to the crematorium here in town. Every donor has put on their paperwork what they want done with their final remains. So then I take care of that, make sure that their final remains either go to a funeral home if they've set up a memorial service, or back to the families to a family plot. Or we do have an interment service every 3 years through the Anatomy and Cell Biology Department.
Now, is this a program that people are participating in? Are you having enough deeded bodies to support the program, or is the program in need?
The program is doing very well. We can always use donors. You can never have too many donors. I have been there 6 years, and 5 of those 6 years we've had 50 donors per year, plus or minus 2. All of a sudden last year we have 70 donors, and now this year we're on the 60 to 70 track, and that just makes us very happy. It makes us very excited. It allows us to do extra things with the students.
Well, it was great having you on the show. It sounds like a wonderful program that it sounds like a lot of people are benefiting from, so thank you for being here.
Thank you, Shannon.
Coming up, people in the South have had their worlds turned upside down, losing jobs, homes, and churches. But some businesses are giving the community their spirit back. We'll talk to someone who helped a local newspaper through a disaster. Also, many groups around the country coming up with unique events to raise money for hurricane victims. One group of college students donated something precious to help the cause, their body hair. That story next on Studio One.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Treasure hunt fever stays alive in the shark-infested waters of the Bahamas. 4 divers find buried treasure from a legendary shipwreck at the bottom of the sea in the movie Into the Blue. Jessica Alba and Paul Walker play a young couple who discovers treasure. However, they soon realize a sunken plane lies nearby full of illegal cargo. They make a promise to keep quiet about both findings. Things go bad when a group of dangerous drug lords get closer to discovering their secret. The treasure hunters soon become the hunted. Jessica Alba says the movie has both action and romance.
It's a chick flick, and it's also like a thing that guys can go see and be like, yeah, you know, and not a lot of movies encompass both aspects.
The actors worked with live sharks for the most realistic effect. Sharks were caught each day for filming and then set free when shooting was finished. Into the Blue opens in theaters on September 30th. Now it's time to take a look at the events happening in your area. Relief efforts around the country are raising money for hurricane victims. One group of college students have donated something few would even dream of.
Tailgating. The sounds, the atmosphere, the barbecue. In this parking lot full of football fanatics, there is a group of students raising money for Hurricane Katrina victims.
It's just gotten a great response. We've gotten email donations. Everyone out here has been donating lots of money, so it's been really great.
These students are doing more than just selling t-shirts and rallying for their money. Instead, these brave few have given their bodies for the cause.
We've got our president, vice president, all those guys. They just had body hair and said they'd wax it.
Dave Whedon is the president of this student group. He says the waxing feels as painful as it sounds.
The first one wasn't bad. I'm like, this isn't bad. But then they got where I had more hair. It's bad. That rip, it's horrible. Whose dumb idea was this?
It was kind of an idea of Dave's and his roommates. They were joking about it after they saw the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin and just kind of ran with it.
The movie did more than inspire this idea. It also spawned a catchphrase.
Kelly Clarkson.
Just as these 5 martyrs watched the movie with glee, people here can't help but watch as well. Some audience members even picked out a favorite hairy hero.
But I want him! Who do you want to wax? I want him!
Though it's likely that these men will never wax again,
Unless the chicks dig it, I am single.
they're glad they did this time.
And we're making a lot of money for a good cause, so it's worth it.
With photographer Patrick Wynn, I'm Amanda Nelson reporting for Studio One.
Thank you for shopping at Stacy's.
That's gotta hurt. The mother of one of the volunteers drove 450 miles to see her son get waxed. With hometown donations like hers and money pouring in from around the country, the group has raised nearly $5,000. Coming up, hypnotism has been used in criminal investigations, for losing weight, and for pure entertainment. We'll talk to a trained hypnotist about the power he has over people. That story plus news, sports, and the weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Do you need a flexible way to earn your degree? The University of North Dakota's Degrees After Hours program is designed to work around your full-time schedule. Whether you've got a family, a full-time job, or both, the Degrees After Hours program offers you flexible alternatives. You can earn a degree or take courses online through video conferencing and in the evenings or on weekends. UND's Degrees After Hours program fits your needs, your schedule, and your goals. Contact UND today.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, the Pledge of Allegiance has been a part of American culture for over 100 years now.
Yeah.
And in that time, there have been very few changes conducted to the Pledge of Allegiance. But now they're questioning whether or not the Pledge of Allegiance line that says "one nation under God" is constitutional.
That's right. There was a judge in California that said that it is not. So we wanted your thoughts about that issue. We went out and asked people about that. Their answers are coming up. Also in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, in the past it was common for retiring farmers to hand down the operation to one of their children. We'll tell you why it's getting harder to find the next generation of farmers.
Also, hypnotism is used as an aid in medical practice and psychotherapy. It can also be great fun to watch. We'll talk to a hypnotist about entertaining a crowd.
And a lot goes into the making of a daily newspaper. When a natural disaster like Hurricane Katrina comes along, publishing a daily paper is even more of a daunting task. We'll talk with a newspaper editor who traveled many miles to help in the effort. But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torning.
Thank you, Monty and Shannon. Businesses in New Orleans' French Quarter could soon be open to customers, or up for sale. Store owners are coming back, and while some are determined to stay, others are taking what they can and leaving for good. Some feel the decision to re-enter New Orleans has come too soon, but Mayor Ray Nagin believes this is the right time. While the city is still unable to provide some of the basic necessities, most people are glad to be allowed back home. While New Orleans residents are returning home, people in Southern California are being forced to evacuate because of a wind-driven fire. As of Thursday afternoon, the flames were burning more than 17,000 acres of land. Firefighters are not sure how the blaze began, but they say they won't be able to stop it until the wind dies down. The fire is edging up to the multi-million-dollar mansions of the San Fernando Valley, as well as many other homes and businesses. Hurricane Katrina and Rita have damaged thousands of homes and businesses in the South. While the destruction is limited to only a few states, it is impacting people across the U.S. Construction companies are having to cope with the rising cost of materials. Plywood, sheetrock, and cement are only some of the items that are in high demand. While there are many homes needing to be rebuilt in the South, the rising cost of materials is delaying other construction projects.
Lead times to get product is somewhat out, 30 to 45 days in a lot of cases, where it used to be 3 days to 5 days.
Schmidt says his business feels the effects of rising prices because they must honor bids placed before the increase. Some lumber companies are trying to keep costs down by using the fallen trees from the hurricanes to rebuild. Nearly 100 firefighters die every year, and another 100,000 sustain serious injuries in the line of duty. But a new database may help to lower those numbers. The National Firefighter Near Missing Reporting System is an online database where firefighters can share their on-the-job experiences. The firefighters hope that by passing on their own close calls, they can keep each other safe while working. The database currently handles more than 40,000 reports each year from firefighters across the country. Throughout the years, the U.S. has seen many changes in agriculture, but there is one change that has people concerned. This trend has many people wondering what the future holds for farming.
Daniel Olson is a rarity. He is one of the few farmers under the age of 35. The most recent census by the U.S. Department of Agriculture found that only about 6% of farmers are younger than 35.
I guess it makes me feel special that I'm one of the small numbers that are actually going into farming.
Olson says high startup costs, increased operating expenses, and low prices for their crops have discouraged others his age from getting into the business. Curtis Swanson says, in the 25 years he's been farming, he's noticed fewer farm kids wanting to take over their dad's operation.
It's a difficult way of life. You know, a lot of them have grown up on farms and see all the hours. There's stress. Financial stress is tremendous at times.
Some who work closely with growers believe farmers will need to produce specialized crops. They say what made them money in the past will not necessarily earn them a profit in the future.
I think we're going to see them moving into more of a niche market. They're going to have to add more value to the product that they sell on their land in order to survive.
Olson says farming can be difficult, but he says it is always worth it in the end.
I find the challenge of trying to keep farming in this environment is quite rewarding when you can change something for the better.
For now, Olson will keep on doing just that, one row at a time. I'm Sean Engel reporting for Studio One.
The average age of all U.S. farmers in the latest USDA census was over 55 years of age. And that's the news for now. Monty and Shannon?
Thanks a lot, Mariah. Well, it's about that time of the year where you start to see farmers out in the fields harvesting the crops, getting the crops off.
Absolutely. Fall's always kind of fun because it's the beginning of a new season and the end of the harvest as well. So it'll be fun to see what happens as we continue on throughout the fall. And I think we should go over to Matt Benz at the weather studio and find out just what we can expect to see.
Well, thanks, Monty and Shannon. Yeah, we're beginning to see many changes in fall. Farmers are getting out in their fields, and we're beginning to see changes in the colors of the leaves across much of the area. And many areas are beginning to see their leaves changing across the north, and this is mostly due not because of the weather and the cold, but because of the lack of sunlight. As the days get shorter in the fall, we actually begin to see chlorophyll in the leaves begin to die off, and the colors beneath begin to come out, and most of these colors are formed because of the sugars that are left in the leaves, and they form red colors and yellow and brown as well as some oranges, and this begins to set up all the colorful things that we begin to see in fall. But across much of the country, we begin to see changing colors, and this map represents where we begin to see most areas of peak colors. Across the south here, you guys don't really see a lot of changing in your trees, but across the midsection of the country, that's a little misleading. You do have fall colors, but it's not in trees. It's actually your grasses begin to change. Across much of the Front Range of the Rockies here, your grasses will change colors as well as some of the trees that are around, but it's not quite as intense as what it is across eastern sections of the country as well as across the Rocky Mountains. That little spot right there is the Black Hills, where they do have some trees, and it's kind of an island of color out in the middle of the color of grasses. Well, while most of the weather does affect the changing colors of the fall, scientists have begun exploring new ways to monitor changes in the Earth's health. Scientists at the University of North Dakota have a new friend in research. It can lift nearly 15 tons of equipment and transport it around the world for studies. The university is a new home for NASA's DC-8 Airborne Laboratory.
It's done hurricane research, ozone hole research. Probably its main use is atmospheric chemistry.
UND won the honors of housing the plane for NASA for the next 5 years. The DC-8 can carry 40 scientists on 12-hour flights. These scientists conduct experiments on the aircraft while it is in the air.
It's a national facility. It's a treasure, actually, for the nation. So when it goes on big missions, there's a competition on which experiments get carried and who gets funded to go on the aircraft.
Most of the research done is on the atmosphere, but the DC-8 has helped other fields of study.
It's used for archaeology. Believe it or not, they've done Angkor Wat and some of the treasures in Cambodia, some of the Mayan ruins in Central America.
The DC-8 uses radar that can peer through jungle canopies for structures below. The aircraft has been used for archaeology, but scientists hope their new friend will shed light on the Earth's natural systems. While with NASA, the DC-8 covered much of the world, covering 6 continents as well as 4 oceans. Well, here's a recap of your question of the day. Which of the following make leaves turn red? And your answer is anthocyanins. This is actually the sugar in the leaf that actually forms during the fall, and it makes the leaf turn red. And here's the other ones: carotenoids. It makes the leaf turn yellow, and chlorophyll, of course, makes leaves turn green, and that's what you see in the summertime.
Thanks, Matt. Those certainly are large words just to describe a leaf.
It's a mouthful. I prefer red, yellow, and green myself.
I go with pretty. They look really pretty out there right now.
All right, well, let's go to sports now with Nathan Shane. Thanks, Monty and Shannon. Public address announcers bring energy and excitement to every sporting event and often become a fixture for their team. Trying to replace someone of that magnitude is never easy, but can be entertaining.
Okay, North Dakota, get on your feet.
The University of North Dakota hasn't seen a contest like this in 16 years. 24 very vocal talents recently gathered to test their abilities to be the next public address announcer for Fighting Sioux hockey. Robert Benda was one of the contestants that was a little on edge.
I am, for the first time in several years, I am very nervous. It's been a long time since I felt this tied up in knots right now.
Right wing is number 14, Ryan Martins.
But for others like Max Huber, the experience was nothing but exciting.
This is just a dream of mine to do announcing, and this is just a great opportunity, and I figure I got nothing to lose. Why not give it a shot?
Lee Marvin!
With the judges looking on, contestants tried everything to grab their attention, from long, drawn-out lines to quick, emphatic bites.
Number 16, Ryan Duncan.
This contest gave everyone a chance to experience something different.
That left wing is number 16, Ryan Duncan.
And now it's up to the judges to see who will get their chance to do this.
On defense, number 4, Taylor Shorney.
Sometime soon.
Here comes North Dakota Fighting Sioux.
This is Greg Ankers reporting for Studio One Sports.
10 contestants were chosen to go on to the final round. In the end, college student Darren Looker was the winner. He will make his debut on October 2nd. And now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question. Once again, the question: when was Jimmy Johnson's rookie year? The answer to that question is actually D, 2002. Jimmy had a good but not great season, coming in second to Ryan Newman for the Rookie of the Year. And that's the sports. Monty and Shannon.
Thanks a lot, Nathan. Celebrities sometimes complain about paparazzi and wild fans. One actor enjoys meeting admirers of his work and is willing to tour the nation to meet them.
Also, it's often fun to watch people step outside their comfort zone and let loose. We'll watch as a hypnotist gets people to do all sorts of things in front of an audience.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person.
I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration, real degrees for real people.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND offers students exceptional learning opportunities. Undergraduates are helping faculty design and build unmanned aerial vehicles to test remote imaging devices. They're also converting wind energy into hydrogen. Geological science students are contributing to environmental research. Extracurricular activities include designing, building, and racing a fuel cell car. Make the most of your college experience at UND's School of Engineering and Mines.
Let the University of North Dakota become your partner by providing your business with services to enhance your workforce. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience conducting employee satisfaction research, strategic planning, focus groups, and grant development. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Fans of movie stars rarely get to see their favorite celebrities in person. One actor embraces fans instead of avoiding them.
It's movie night at the Fargo Theater. The title of tonight's feature, The Man with the Screaming Brain. This title is a perfect fit for someone who has flown under the Hollywood radar for decades.
He's one of the only actors out there, really, that I've ever had a desire to meet.
The fans are waiting to meet Bruce Campbell. He's out promoting his new book and premiering a new movie.
No, fans, again, they look scarier than they really are. So, and I make myself so accessible, fans tend to not get as crazy as a result.
Bruce Campbell's second book, Make Love the Bruce Campbell Way, also makes use of a creative title.
The second book I wrote mainly because I enjoyed the writing process, and I'm not going to write another autobiography, so it was time to get into new territory, so it became a novel, which makes fun of Hollywood, basically, which is a fun pastime.
Bruce Campbell has played a multitude of characters.
Favorite characters, boy, it's tough. I don't really have one because I'm not done yet. I can answer that from the old actors' home.
Over the years, he's enjoyed much of his time on the screen.
It was fun doing Briscoe from The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. because it was actually a first chance to play a role model. Most of my other characters are, have been idiots. So it's fun to mix it up a little bit.
Although Campbell might see his characters as idiots, his fans will always keep his name on the marquee. This is Patrick Wynn reporting for Studio One.
Bruce Campbell's stop in Fargo was his 39th on a 40-city tour. The Man with the Screaming Brain is also his feature directorial debut. The Pledge of Allegiance was created in 1892 but has been revised twice since then. Recently, a federal judge in San Francisco declared that the pledge is unconstitutional due to the reference, "One Nation under God." This could put the issue back before the U.S. Supreme Court. We wanted your thoughts on the issue.
I don't think that saying one nation under God is pushing religion. It's not like they're preaching to kids in school.
I don't really believe in God, so yeah. Works for me.
In the Supreme Court, they start with prayers, and certainly our money has under God, God we trust and everything, and so I think the judge is really wrong.
I'm opposed to their decision, but I have trouble with a lot of the decisions that the judges are making coming out. I think we've had some real bloopers made recently, and that's one of them.
I think federal judges should keep their opinions to themselves.
Many people have different ideas about what they consider entertainment. All one man needs is the help of a few brave volunteers and the power of suggestion to keep crowds captivated.
On a count of 3, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, and wide awake.
Blaze Driscoll is a seemingly ordinary man who has the power to make people do, think, and feel unordinary things.
There is a line that they draw in their mind. So if I asked them to kill somebody, they would not do that.
He is a trained hypnotist who has spent years mastering his craft.
I'm proud of my show. I've worked very hard to put it together and to keep it entertaining for all age levels.
People may appear to have control of their actions in his shows.
And wide awake.
Later, they might remember nothing at all.
They get so relaxed and they go into their imagination so deeply they don't care. They just really let loose.
Do I know how to do the twist? I kind of remember it because like I knew what I was doing, but like not.
And wide awake. What are you guys doing? Every time I start talking, you guys jump up and start.
He can do more than make the shyest of all people dance. Those who volunteer for Blaze's show may get more of a sensory experience than they bargained for.
You might be able to hallucinate a smell.
So what's going on here, sir?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
She smells good.
She smells good. Well, she now smells twice as good.
But you may not hallucinate a vision. But under a very deep state of hypnosis, you can literally hallucinate visually.
And what's going on? How come you're in your chair?
There's a kitty and it's hurting the other one.
Oh, the kitty's hurting the other one.
Yeah.
Many people treat him differently when they find out what he does for a living. He says there is no reason to be afraid of hypnotists.
My bookkeeper's son found out I was a hypnotist, and he goes, "Mom, don't look him in the eye."
Blaze leaves a final suggestion with his volunteers.
You will not drink and drive. You will realize how important you are to your friends and to your family. You will not drink and drive.
Whether Blaze gives hypnotic suggestions to better someone's life or to simply entertain an audience, he shows that hypnosis can be a powerful tool. I'm Patrick Trausch, reporting for Studio One.
Blaze says everyone has the ability to use self-hypnosis. He says it can be used for anything from quitting smoking to gaining more confidence in everyday situations. Many people have been watching the coverage of Hurricane Katrina, but for one man, watching the news unfold was more up close and personal. We'll talk to someone who was in the Gulf region right after Katrina hit.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
After Hurricane Katrina, most towns on the Gulf Coast lost everything. But in Biloxi, Mississippi, a community newspaper never stopped printing. Writers and editors from around the nation traveled to help the paper and community rebuild. Newspaper editor Kevin Grinde traveled from North Dakota to help, and his week-long stay quickly became a life-changing event. Thanks for coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
Well, North Dakota to Biloxi, that's quite a ways. How was your trip down there? How did you get down there?
Well, when the hurricane hit on Monday, 28th, I believe, everything's a blur since then. I was in St. Paul, found out about it, saw on the Weather Channel that the hurricane was hitting Biloxi, which is a sister paper, a night reader paper of the Herald in Grand Forks. And on our way back, we realized that, you know, night reader's going to kick into high gear here, and somebody from Grand Forks would be going down to Biloxi. I didn't know then, but it turned out to be me. So Tuesday afternoon, basically we booked a trip from Grand Forks, Minneapolis to Memphis, and then it became problematic. You know, do you go to Mobile? Do you go to Jackson? Ended up going to Jackson and landed there at about 7:30 in the evening, and then drove to Biloxi in the dark and got there at about midnight.
Okay.
And this was on Wednesday, 2 days after the hurricane hit.
Was it tough driving down there?
It was an extremely surreal trip because it was in the dark, there was fog, there were power lines down, and all of the exit signs, you know, were down. So after goofing around for about 6 hours, made it to Biloxi.
Wow. Now, we've seen pictures of Biloxi. We actually have some pictures from the newspaper that you worked at that we're going to look at here. Could you explain to us what it was like being in the middle of it? Describe it for us.
The Sun Herald, it's called the Biloxi Sun Herald. I got there, first of all, I couldn't get into town that night because there was a curfew. And so I spent it outside this motel in my SUV, rented SUV, listening to XM satellite radio. And it was about 85 degrees. And so 6:30, got to the paper, and, you know, driving over power lines, and it was just massive destruction, you know, stuff that I hadn't seen that night because it was dark. And walked into the paper, was greeted, and first thing they did to the loaners, the night reader help, the journalists that were coming in from throughout the country, was to give a tour. And at about between 10:30 and noon, I got a tour of the actual hardest hit areas on the coast. And the scope of the destruction, just absolutely massive, massively destroyed buildings. What those waves did to the concrete, the steel, the wood, anything wood, was absolutely shattered and basically deposited in this, you know, destructive dune of stuff.
Sure.
Was just mind-boggling.
Just a mess.
Yeah.
How did the paper print?
Pardon?
How did the paper print?
They had a generator. They had a plan. And basically on Monday, when the hurricane hit, a corporate vice president flew from San Jose to Biloxi, and he had a satellite phone, fortunately. And basically, these people were scrambling. You know, they had to wait till the storm died down. They dispatched a crew to Columbus, Georgia, another night reader paper, and set up shop there, and basically relayed images and text using the satellite phone to Columbus. They printed the Sun Herald there and then shipped the paper back to Biloxi the next day, and did that essentially for a week.
Wow. Never stopped printing.
Never stopped
You're
printing.
down there now helping these people out in this situation that is extreme, to say the least.
Yep.
What was it like not having basic amenities that you left here in Grand Forks?
A lot like it was up here during the flood. You know, really. There were very many parallels between Katrina and the flood. Katrina's damage was 1,000,000 times worse than, you know, the flood in '97. But at least there was air conditioning and we had power because of the generator, at least for the first floor. But basically when I got there, there was one, let's call it an outhouse, because that's what it was, plastic, you know, for 200-some people. And on day 2 there were 2, and day 3 I think there were 6, and then on Sunday there were 12, and each day was a victory. So I mean, you know, basic condition. They were hardship conditions. Slept on 2nd floor unconditioned conference room. There were about 12 journalists in there, 3 big fans going. But you know, during the time between the adrenaline, the energy, the story itself that needs to be covered, you know, you're just rolling right along.
And you mentioned the flood that Grand Forks went through in '97. Yep. You know, the personal connection that you had going through that, is there something similar? The Herald, I know in Grand Forks, it had burned. Is it a similar situation down there that they're feeling?
Well, the Herald flooded and burned, you know, and we were displaced basically a year, you know. Down there, at least the building itself, the Sun Herald, survived, and only by about 1.5 blocks from where the storm surge ended. And you know, they had their printing press, we didn't. And you know, there were distinctions, differences, but overall, you know, between the shock and again the adrenaline, it allowed them to continue doing what journalists do, and that's cover the story. So in that respect, it was very similar to what we did up here.
It's an amazing story. You almost need an hour to talk about this. It's a great story. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Kevin.
You're welcome.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect North Dakota veterans with important information. North Dakota veterans can use the internet to access employment and business resources, health and benefits they deserve, housing information, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded in part by the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. North Dakota veterans and their families can get connected by visiting go.ndgrow.com.
Become a leader in healthcare with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota. The Graduate School at UND offers degree programs and advanced practice certificate programs in the allied health professions and nursing. Our faculty give you the individual attention you need to help you attain your career goals. Distance programs for practicing professionals allow you to pursue graduate studies without interrupting your career. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I love working with people.
I'm a people person.
I consider myself to be highly motivated.
I'm a real self-starter.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
I can offer you much more than just good people skills.
You're hired.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
Tune in next week on Studio One. The Department of Natural Resources helped rescue stranded people after Hurricane Katrina. We'll talk to a DNR officer about what he saw. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of the recent Rally for Relief. More than $51,000 was raised at the Grand Forks event for victims of the recent hurricanes. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.